Today we have Denis Yelisevich as our guest, and with him we will try to understand the situation that is happening in Ukraine and beyond its borders. Welcome, Denis.
Hello, Tatiana. Hello, viewers.
I encourage all of you to subscribe to our channel, give us likes and write us comments. Your comments and your thoughts are very important to us. And Denis, tell us, what do you think about this? What is happening? Right now, Zelensky is on a tour. Supposedly, he is addressing very important issues for Ukraine. He continues to take care of our economy and our defense system. In the Verkhovna Rada, the situation is unclear. People are protesting with different ideas. European solidarity physically blocked the podium in parliament. They say that personnel changes need to happen. Yaroslav Zelensky calls everything happening a circus, not reforms. What do they mean? They say that the entire cabinet should resign, new people should come in and put things in order in Ukraine. Please explain, will they succeed? What's happening? What's being planned? What will happen?
First, about Zelensky's tour in the Verkhovna Rada. He's not doing anything, just focused on his own public relations. The trip to Turkey is important because it includes a meeting with Steve Witkoff. Witkoff is completely his man. It's like talking to Trump, basically. He's fully delegated by President Trump. Very tough conditions will be put forward to Zelensky, extremely tough. As far as I know, even Erdogan is unhappy with the current situation, despite once being Zelensky's ally. I don't know what will happen next. Zelensky's house of cards has collapsed. He will remain de jure as president only until the spring of next year at most. There will be elections next year. Ukraine's negotiating position will be worse than it was 6 months ago. We will be forced to make peace. Why? Zelensky is easier to deal with than Putin because he's the weaker link. If he has enough sense, he'll agree. If he doesn't, his end will be sad, but the end of his team will be much sadder. In particular, Yermak will take the full blow. You'll all see everything soon. Now, several key figures from the president's inner circle who were involved in corruption have made a deal with the Federal Security Service investigation. Key figures. These aren't small fry. Key figures. Things will go badly for him. I was outraged by the trip to France to see Macron. It was announced that all Rafales would be purchased over the next 10 years. Yeah, I just have a small question. Where does Ukraine get the money for these Rafales? Well, show me. Where are these billions of dollars? Tens of billions of dollars for these Rafales? They don't exist. So does France have to lend them? Where would France get the money? France faces both financial and political crises similar to Ukraine. This was all an attempt by a European leader from a top European country to justify Zelensky's corruption, to give him some public relations. He went there right at the height of the corruption scandal. At least it's something. How does he expect us to buy this like we're idiots? It doesn't work anymore. Now let's discuss the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine. What Zelensky and Poroshenko say is meaningless. There's neither conflict nor ideology. Everything they want to change, yes, they're not that bloodthirsty, they're not that lawless. They won't sanction individuals, target families, or pursue opposition members. That's just my opinion. It hasn't occurred. Now, after Zelensky, maybe it seems like anything is possible. I hope not. They want a National Salvation Committee. I'll tell you, it's very likely it will be created. They want to control the flows, not Zelensky. Install their people, keep the war and mobilization going. There's nothing crucial, Tatiana. There's no key proposal. First, end the war. Second, a radical change in the format of the state, the paradigm. Just something radical. All these little things, that's not the cause, that's the effect. Now the state has shown its complete failure. This system is completely unviable. Even a blind man should see it. This can't be reformed anymore. We need to start from scratch, do everything completely differently. No half measures, no compromises, completely differently. It's not just me saying this. People have already been served this on a silver platter. Just look at all of this. The problem isn't the Mindich surname. The problem is that this opportunity exists. It needs to be eliminated with a radical reform.
This incredible fear that those who were in power before will come back again. Tymoshenko said yesterday that Energoatom should be given back to the people. These people have already been in power and done what they could, and now we're in this situation. Zelensky says that we will prepare for negotiations. They are taking active steps. But a European gave an interview to Politico and said that Witkoff doesn't understand what's happening in Ukraine. He doesn't understand what Russia wants and what Ukraine wants and what threatens Europe. That's why it's hard to trust him in these negotiations. What does that mean?
You know, our people think that they understand everything, but the country and the people are in trouble. Excuse my French, there's some European guys saying something about Vitkov. Yes, America understands everything perfectly. Maybe it's just that I've dealt with this myself. People may not feel the same way we do, but I assure you that European guy also has no idea about Ukraine or the post-Soviet space. They've already slipped up more than once. These people don't understand our region. Our region is extremely complex. So all these jabs at the United States are just yet another confirmation of Europe's incompetence. Right now, European leaders just need to keep quiet and simply say what America is doing and nothing more, because Europe is also on the brink of collapse. Honestly, of course, the situation in Ukraine is a stalemate. We can't really compare. There's a war going on in Ukraine, but things are very bad in Europe too.
We learned about Alibaba today, but we still don't know who that is. I read what Mariana Bezugla wrote. So she says that we talk about Yermak like that in our political family. Simple and modest. But what does singer Alla Borisovna have to do with this? It's unclear, and so is what happens next. They say that he was allegedly putting pressure on National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine and Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office so that they wouldn't conduct the investigations we're seeing. What do you know? Anything else interesting? That when Zelensky returns from his tour, he will convene the Rada and announce something very important there.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start here. Let's start with Yermak. Alibaba, that's Andriy Yermak. I can't say when these tapes will be published. Yermak was pressuring everyone, including Zelensky, during the summer. I mentioned and knew about this then. He shut down National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine and Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office, knowing this would arise there. That's when the FBI got involved. And the task was Zelensky's, but I don't want to make it look like it's all Yermak's fault, and Zelensky is a saint, and Yermak was just whispering in his ear. The president of Ukraine makes the decision and is currently covering up and possibly involved in top-level corruption. We'll learn more later, but I can't announce it without proof. That's why they wanted to give these powers to Ukraine's Prosecutor General's office, which is entirely controlled by the president's office. That was the goal. Yermak lost. Zelensky lost badly. Well, that's how I see it. And from what I know, and unfortunately, there is a lot I can't talk about. As of this moment, I think he will come and announce Yermak's resignation. He will call it a reset. Maybe even the cabinet will have a new charter. A National Salvation Committee might be created soon, or steps toward it may begin. He simply has no other choice left. That is, the House of Cards, I repeat, has collapsed. It has collapsed. But don't think that this is just a coincidence. I posted about this on my Telegram channel on July 22nd and described everything happening today. So, well, that's how it happens. That's just how it is. And I want to emphasize once again, this is only the beginning. This is just the beginning. Everyone will be held accountable for the lawlessness they've caused. Tatiana, I've been on YouTube for 3.5 years. I suffered, my family suffered, and I'm not crying. Just telling you, I've shared this with people for 3.5 years. Thankfully, official authorities are already telling them this. America is revealing all this. I resisted, suffered, and was labeled pro-Russian. So let's see what happens next.
It's very sad that Hennady Balashov died during these sanctions. It really is very sad because he was worried about it. He was anxious. He was in such a difficult situation. So what happens next? We're interested in what comes next. People say we could already do without Yermak, those 40 bandits, and these managers. But we will always be with Zelensky, so to speak, forever until the end of time. What can you say?
No, that's all nonsense. In 2026, there will be elections that Zelensky will safely lose. After everything that will come to light, you see how it was done. It's not just done to remove Zelensky or somehow end the war. That's part of it too. He needs to be done with politics. He won't be involved in politics anymore. And he won't, after losing the election in the coming years, he won't be able to live in Ukraine. Yermak will leave right after resigning. I believe I mentioned this yesterday or earlier on my channel. It will be one of the Arab countries or London, but that's less likely. But I don't think London, with Starmer in a bad position, will want to cover for Yermak. I can't stop thinking about Gennady Balashov. I discussed it with several people today. I've only seen things like this in movies. It's scary. He didn't even last a week. If he saw what's happening today, he would have been uplifted and everything would be fine. And unfortunately, I'll have to speak vaguely as well. I know and understand a little more. Sadly, people don't grasp the full tragedy and sadness of this situation. And yesterday, I saw someone sent me a video of the head of the 510 party, which was led by Gennady Viktorovich. In Kiev, there's an office next to another office, and there's a cafe right across the street from the Verkhovna Rada in Ukraine. He used his own money to landscape a small park, beautifying the city center. And as I understand it, the party members wanted a plaque on the building where the office is, like saying he lived and worked here, Gennady Balashov. You see, this is really a subjective matter. Some people consider him an outstanding figure, others think differently, no problem. They didn't just refuse, they sent an order that the cafe must be demolished, the park must be demolished, and this will be done soon. So even after death, they still go after a person that's the best description of this government, that's the best description of this government. To stoop so low as to fight with the dead, those who've passed away, is just, now they're fighting with families. You see, this has never happened anywhere before.
Really, it's terrible what's happening. What are they saying? That supposedly Yermak played a very important role, even more significant than Zelensky. And because he was in power, sometimes oligarchs got involved and helped him. They didn't play the last role, and now they are supposedly behind him. Oligarchs.
They are very pragmatic people. They've been losing people all their lives. They take someone, use them, and when the time comes, they lose them. And they can even become almost enemies. And everything else. Of course, Yermak acted in tandem with the oligarchs. I suspect the main one among them was Pinchuk. He was... It's definitely not Tomasz Fiala or Petro Poroshenko who are now working together. Perhaps Lyovochkin will somehow help as well. Well, here's something I recently found out, by the way. I was and still am on the stop list of the Telethon and all these media outlets. For obvious reasons, since 2022. Recently, I learned I'm also on Lyovochkin's publication stop list, which supposedly acts as the opposition. That's how they all act. Do you get what these oligarchs are like? These aren't people who earned their wealth in the market or built a business like in America, starting in a garage and creating a multi-billion-dollar company. It's just grabbing, taking advantage of their parents' positions, privatization. And just like that, you're a super businessman. So it's just a person with money. I can't call them rich people. It's just a person with money. He might be completely foolish, but with money. He likes to play these games, these chess matches, these political intrigues. That's what they spend their lives on. Time flies. Now some are already 65, 63, or 62. There's maybe about 10 years of active life left. And what have you done with your life? Yes, you made good money. Well, let's call it earned. I won't say you stole it, but don't you have any urge to make history, to think about something else, to do something meaningful? No one's taking your money, and I'm not against it, but I just don't see it happening. At least support someone who will make Ukraine livable and workable. Yes, no preferences or privileged status now, just market status. But you'll be able to keep your money in Ukraine. No one will touch your business. You'll be able to live here safely. Your family, there will be no reprisals. There won't be any of these swings anymore. A civilized country where your assets will even appreciate. Unfortunately, no one is interested in that. I would have quit this long ago. I can easily do business and live in America or any European country where there is no lawlessness. But I want to live in Ukraine, just like this. That's the only reason I'm doing this. If it's done differently, there's no point for me to do this. I should focus on a civilized country where everything I want in Ukraine already exists. That's it.
They say that even if he is removed from power, if Yermak no longer holds his position, then Markarova will take his place. And she is supposedly a representative of the Democrats. They support her, they root for her, and Ursula von der Leyen continues to be so moral. She says we will support Ukraine no matter what, giving money and grants as much as we can until the end. What do you think? Do the Democrats continue to influence us?
Yes, I'll explain it to you now. So Zelensky had a plan to appoint someone like Fedorov, someone from his own circle. Even Arakamia's name came up. Like, well, I removed Yermak, but I put someone just like him there, so to speak. No, the combination is very complicated. They once backed Zelensky, but now globalists are pressuring him. You and I, remember, have discussed this many times. The European and world press started writing from a globalist perspective, a globalist angle. Very bad things about Zelensky. Every day, at least one major publication. And why is that? Because Zelensky acted without any limits. Even the globalists noticed. Listen, well, you see, they're scoundrels in my view ideologically, but these are people with a Western mindset. And some things are shocking for them too. I mean, okay, you went that far, but we didn't give you sanctions for something like that. It's impossible to talk to him. He speaks just like he did with President Trump at their first Oval Office meeting. You understand? And you just can't make any agreements with this person. He's, how should I put it, obsessed with this idea of staying in power and fighting. It's like a messianic level, probably something psychological. And they understood everything. We're just going to take your chair away, cut off its legs little by little. We discussed this before. Remember, I told you to remove the power layer by layer, and that's what's happening now. It's not a sudden switch from Zelensky to someone else or the Verkhovna Rada. Change is happening gradually, layer by layer, right now. It's the evening of November 18th, 2025, as we speak. Trust me, many more events will happen before year's end. Everything that didn't happen before will likely happen all at once in the next month and a half.
It's interesting to see what will happen, how events will unfold. He wrote a post saying that he's leaving, I don't remember what it's called, the supervisory board. Yes. He's leaving it because he wanted to fight corruption. He wanted to take all possible measures, but he wasn't given the opportunity to do so. His people supported him a lot. I would like to clarify, why do you think he didn't write the next post explaining what this supervisory board was actually doing? Because we supported it with our taxes. We paid their salaries. Now it's already clear that this board failed. We were left without money, without electricity, and he just leaves his position.
This concerns the earlier question about Markarova, the globalist appointee. I still haven't explained why her. The globalists want a controllable person in place, and Milovanov also works for them and their sphere. Scoundrel, an empty suit, a first-class nobody, a saboteur of Ukraine. And likes, we also need to check where they're coming from, but they really could be from our people who will always sympathize. If you put me and Milovanov together, I think Milovanov would still get more sympathy. He doesn't express himself harshly or radically. He doesn't really propose anything at all. He just doesn't propose anything. They were telling stories there in Canada, at the university, somewhere over there, making up legends about them. You get it? It's so post-Soviet, someone from America or Canada arrives and people treat them like a superhuman, ready to worship them. We're basically calling ourselves fools who don't understand anything. Milovanov has been an advisor, even a super advisor, for around 10 years. Show me one achievement of Milovanov. Show me one reform by Milovanov. This one, I don't want to say who was sucking up to the late Kaka Bendukidze, who actually made reforms in Georgia, who was a real libertarian, who said exactly the same things that I say. And Milovanov is there. Where is this? And he's an opportunist who just picks things up here and there by riding on other people's public relations. And forgive me, not very smart people like his posts and write something there. But again, you have to check because they buy those likes. I don't know, maybe from Vietnam, from India. It's all like that. Oh, half the country is full of people like Milovanov, and that's key. There shouldn't be globalists. But that's just the second part. The first is Zelensky. We need to handle Zelensky first, then deal with the globalists. And at least there will be some rules. Understand? So I suspect that's going to happen. In America, there's a real political fight they could lose. They lost to President Trump before and will likely lose again in 28. There are rules, but with Zelensky, it's not a fair fight. It's like 5 people hold you while one hits. That's his style.
While all this is happening, we keep taking out loans and paying them back. Roxelana Pidlasa said the International Monetary Fund will give Ukraine a favorable $8 billion loan over 4 years. Since funding sources are unclear, countries avoid grants, the reparations loan isn't available to us, so this is the loan we receive. But she emphasized that the International Monetary Fund is very interested in making sure that people, especially Ukrainians, do not evade paying taxes, which will significantly improve our situation. Ursula also emphasizes that gross domestic product in Ukraine is decreasing this year, and soon there will be inflation, but next year the situation will improve significantly. What do you think?
I want to try to reach out to people. Let's imagine that we get this super profitable, as they say, 8 billion loan, even if it's 80 billion. You understand? It's like an oxygen tank for a person on a ventilator who unfortunately will never be alive again. He won't wake up or live. His heart will just keep beating on the machine, but he won't truly be alive. That's Ukraine now, and it hasn't just become this way. Let's put it this way. Even back when Yanukovych was in power, it's pointless. People, these 8 billion will be spent, and after that we'll be on air just discussing who will give us a new loan and new corruption scandals. Do you understand? We will all age and our lives will pass. That's the main issue. There's a worldwide resistance to changing this concept. This money isn't for a transitional period like those often required during major reforms, which many countries have experienced. It's just like putting a band-aid on a corpse. They're keeping a dead patient on life support. The Ukrainian state is not a country in that old corrupt format. It's dead, but they're supporting it. It shouldn't be supported. We need to start from scratch, from zero. We need to start from a clean slate. Ukraine and its people have faced a great tragedy, losing many and likely to lose more. Now we have some territories left, not just some, but huge territories. No one says we should recognize what Putin took, but that's another matter. And let's make these territories that we still have super rich, super successful. Where can people live today, right now? Not talking about 10 or 20 years from now, but living here and now, feeling it and building the future. That's when things will really take off. To make this happen, we need to have very low taxes and a judicial reform. I could provide the numbers, but not right now since it's a lengthy discussion. In short, that's what was done. Capitalism must fully come to Ukraine. It must become a completely capitalist country, and then everything will work out. Let's take some examples. Today, before the stream, literally right before our broadcast with you, President Trump is writing about the American reform, the post-American reform in medicine. He says that the government shouldn't send money to any insurance companies, but directly to the people. And since a person is a rational being, and well, Trump doesn't consider people in America to be fools, he decides, I'll buy this insurance, that one or none, but even if it's foolish, it's still my choice. What's happening in Ukraine? I suggested this 2 years ago, and after that, the globalist media attacked me. They even have a badge showing who supports them. Soros Foundation's United States Agency for International Development, all of those. And they said that this is pro-Russian. That means a hit where the big money is made. Ukraine's Ministry of Health has a $5 billion budget. Imagine the amount they can divide, but what are they actually doing? They finance hospitals directly, medicines, and there the prices are inflated. And there, every nurse needs to be slipped some money for things to work. And these chief doctors and everyone else just sit there lining their pockets and complaining, oh God, what a terrible country we have. Some are truly brilliant, but trapped by this system. It shouldn't be this way. This money should go directly to the people proportionally. People choose to buy insurance or not. All hospitals are private, and that's how it should work. And pensioners will get their share, and ordinary people will simply receive their money directly on their cards. This is your amount, monthly or yearly. Insurance companies, including foreign ones, will join the healthcare sector and offer services as a full system will exist. However, the choice remains yours. No one will deceive you. Something's going on here, but no one knows what or where. It's all secret.
Reading comments often brings criticism both for you and many of our guests. Sebastianovich also faces it for his reforms. But yesterday, Tymoshenko wrote that Energoatom should be given to the people, that people pay too much for electricity and that they should pay less. And people sent her smiley faces and nice comments.
You see, all of them, how can I put it, are dinosaurs who are already dying politically. Poroshenko, Tymoshenko, they don't want to age and desperately try to catch another breath. But as they say, you can't breathe enough before you die. This power, or rather give everything back to the people. The constitution states the land belongs to Ukrainian citizens. That's all fairy tales. And if it's not fairy tales, let the people who are listening to the comments write under this broadcast. Write how much, even a single cent, you have received from the state enterprise's resources. No, just losses. We were recently discussing Ukraine. We will all have to pay for this, and the Westerners will all have to pay so that this crap, the state-owned stuff continues to exist. It's the same here. Tymoshenko, really, how gullible do you have to be to believe this? How can it belong to everyone? It belongs to whoever leases it or holds power now. Today, it's Zelenskyy, Mindich. Tomorrow, it will be Poroshenko and Kanonenko or Granovsky or all of their group, and they will be the ones managing it. Do you believe powerful state enterprises exist without corruption? First, they're called strategic, but they need to be privatized. This is the first business needing quality management. You can't steal from a private company since there's nothing to take. If this enterprise were managed by Americans or maybe some Europeans from a civilized country, well, not the country itself, but a business from there that specializes in this. Energy companies, let's say conglomerates, they know how to do this. There's no corruption there at all. Not to create a monopoly, but to allow markets to open up. Only a free market will solve these issues.
People, this was our conversation with Dennis today. I think it was useful and meaningful for you. Let's believe in the future of Ukraine and observe the events that are happening. But please write us comments, keep your finger on the pulse, get involved in these events, analyze them on your own, and apply critical thinking. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Thank you.